Hello again, everyone, and welcome to another edition of History Revealed. Thank you for tuning in. And if you couldn't tell, today's episode is about Legos. The history of Legos, that is. A fascinating toy that has captured children's hearts for generations, and it definitely captured mine. I collected extensively when I was younger, played with them all the time, and as you can see, still kind of collect in my free time, but I cannot collect nearly as extensively as I once did. But I still had loads of fun and so many sets besides what you see here, so I love that I have those and I'll cherish them for a long time. So the history of Lego is very fascinating in itself, and unfortunately comes with a bit of tragedy. The origins of Legos began in Denmark, although Britain has a little cameo in this scenario eventually, but we'll get to that. And there was a man named Ole Kirk Christensen who had a furniture business, and he also made the items like ladders, stools, and ironing boards. But unfortunately, his business was absolutely devastated by not one, not two, but 3 fires that consumed most of the buildings that he had his businesses in. His wife passed away in 1932, almost 15 or so years before he did. And he also suffered through a little something known as the stock market crash of 1929, where pretty much 99% of the world's businesses struggled from there on through the Great Depression. But he was determined to keep going, and he found wood that fortunately had not been burnt in any of those fires, and created inexpensive items that he thought might sell, including toys. He kept on this toy run and made more and more, and thus eventually naming his business Leg Godt, or L-E-G-G-O-D-T, which means play well, and eventually that turns into Lego. So after World War II, there were a lot of production materials that you could no longer use, and in some instances even find. There was, however, plastic. So in 1947, Christensen and his business was able to use a plastic injection molding device to help transform his toys into an automatic binding brick. And this binding brick looks a lot like our modern-day Lego brick. And according to Lego, the company now, the fact that its name, brick, is English and not Danish is actually to pay homage to the Allied forces who helped liberate Denmark during World War II and helped put an end to the war. Christensen's bricks were inspired by a British company named Kittycraft, who designed sets of self-locking bricks. Now, Christensen and his son, Gottfried, tweaked the design a little bit, changed it up, made it their own, and began selling their version of the plastic bricks in 1949. Christensen passed away right as his son was using their automatic binding bricks as a basis for a system of play, in which these bricks and layer blocks would all be created so that they could all interlock together and attach to one another, just like the modern-day Lego. So, there you have it in a nutshell. That is the history of Lego. And of course now they have expanded immensely. There are Lego video games, Lego movies, all kinds of stuff. The brand has launched into clothing lines even, you name it, and you can have Lego on it. Now, no wonder I loved Legos so much. I grew up in the 90s, and the National Toy Hall of Fame in 1998 named Lego the Toy of the Century. So that makes a lot of sense. So that's a wrap for this edition of History Revealed. Thank you again for joining me, and I encourage you all to go out and get involved with building projects, help kids out, play Legos with them, do whatever you want to do, get your creative juices flowing. and you will absolutely not regret it, because I don't to this day. Thank you guys. We'll see you next time.